Maturing in the gym is realizing that women need to train different than men. Oof, I saw that on a TikTok and it just was the inspiration for today's video because I realized I think a lot of women have trouble understanding that there are certain things that need to be different than men, but for the most part, if the goal is to build muscle, lose fat, the science is the same. The only difference is hormones and your body. So I'm going to run down everything that should stay the same, and then at the very end, I will tell you exactly what needs to be different from your training compared to your boyfriend, your husband, your partner, a man. To put it in simple terms, when you pick up a dumbbell, when you pick up a barbell, it's not going to know the difference between your gender. And building muscle, getting toned, whatever language you want to use, requires the same science. So the things that stay the same are progressive overload. You should be challenging yourself every week when it comes to your lifts. It doesn't necessarily have to be adding more weight. It could be as simple as adding more reps, adding another set. It could be decreasing your rest time, which I don't really recommend doing that. But there are so many ways that you can make exercises harder. Add a tempo, add a pause. But every week, something in your workout routine should be a little bit different. The type of movements that will always be elite are compound movements. Compound movements are exercises that work multiple muscle groups at the same time. So for example, barbell back squats. It is a dominantly leg movement, but when you think about it, all your muscles are tensed, all your muscles are being fired up to help keep you stable. But yes, for the most part, it's your quad, hamstrings, and glutes. Same thing with an RDL. I personally love RDLs because it works your lower back, it works your hamstrings, your glutes. It's a good mix of everything. Same with bench press. I don't know why more women don't bench press. And if you have a specific reason, I would love to know why. But with bench press, you're hitting your chest, you're hitting your triceps, your shoulders. Like it is, compound movements in general are just so elite that both men and women would be doing it. Nutrition and protein intake are also so crucial that needs to be the same for both men and women. Like you still need to eat near your body weight in protein, no matter what your goal is, whether you're maintaining, losing fat, building muscle, keeping within your body weight of protein, always good. Both genders need carbs. You both need carbs, you need fats. All of those basic things remain the same. And then of course, both genders need recovery days. Obviously, you can't be working out every single day. That's how you burn out. And the goal is to not burn out. It's to be able to balance everything depending on the season that you're in. So those are all the things that are the same. Now, the things that should be different is very still in between. It's like the overall umbrella is still all the same things that should be happening. So the first one being training frequency, right? For the most part, men can get away with working out 6 days a week, depending on so many other factors. For women to do that, whether it's doing cardio on top of strength training, we will burn out so quick. But then it also just depends what the goals are. Now, typically for women, we like to work more on our lower body. Men like to work more of their upper body. So maybe for guys, they might do 1 or 2 leg days. For women, you might be doing 3 days a week. Depending on what muscle you're trying to focus on growing or improving, that's what's going to be different from a man. Obviously, I don't think girls have the goal to grow their chest. If you do, great. I'm not judging. It's just in my experience, I haven't seen any woman who has come up to me to be like, I want to get toned, grow a more defined chest. I've never heard of it. But since that's more of a male's goal, they're probably going to work chest 2 times a week versus me and other women. It might be just 1 time a week. And then the exercise selection also depends a lot. The volume also matters. Typically when you're trying to grow, you might be taking your training more into a different direction. But in terms of exercises, it is all the same. If you enjoy doing like a dumbbell bench press instead of a barbell bench press, that might be the only change. But in order to grow muscle, to get toned, whatever, your intensity should still be relatively close to each other. Obviously, you're not going to be as strong as a man because they have more testosterone and all that, but the idea is that you're still taking your sets to near failure. Recovery, I would say, is where it's the biggest difference. Men typically recover a lot more quicker than women, and that's just due to our constantly fluctuating hormones. It is by far the most frustrating thing to have to deal with, because imagine it like this. Whatever you feel your strongest, your best self, for some women that's during ovulation, for some women it's during follicular phase, whatever it is, whenever you feel the strongest, the best, you're most creative, imagine a man having that just every day for his life. Like imagine being able to feel that. So that is why men are able to recover quicker. They're even able to maybe train a little bit more than you can. They're a lot stronger, or they progress a lot quicker. Maybe you see that their fat loss phase is much quicker than women. That's because they only go through one hormone cycle. Women go through like 4, right? So when this happens, the best thing you can do is focus on RPE based training. I've talked about this in my previous videos before. RPE is basically this scale that we use in lifting. You can use RPE or RIR, reps in reserve. But the idea is that all of your exercises will, depending on your session and intensity and all that, it should be around an RPE of 8, meaning you always had 2 reps left in the tank, maybe even 3. Typically for your compound movements, that's a good sweet spot to be in. It's enough to where you're not burning yourself out, because if you work yourself to a complete RPE of 10, it's very taxing. It takes a longer time to recover. But usually around 8 is a good spot. With your isolation movements or accessories, it's a lot safer, especially if it's like machine work, it's a lot safer to go to an RPE of 10. But that is the only thing that really makes a difference in your training style compared to men. Because at the end of the day, your body does not understand what weight or how much weight you are using. It only understands tension. So what does that mean? It basically just means, let's say you were squatting 200 pounds on your follicular phase. That's when you were feeling your strongest, the bestest. You were able to do 3 sets of 5 for 200 pounds. It was great. You felt good. You felt strong. And then the week after, for whatever reason, you're just not feeling it. Maybe you had bad sleep. Your nutrition wasn't great. Something that took a factor into your recovery. And then when you try to squat 200 pounds, you find that you could barely do it for 2 reps. And then you're like, this is just way too heavy for me. Your body isn't going to remember that you did 200 last week. What it will remember is how it's feeling. So because those 2 reps felt like an RPE of like maybe 10, like you could not do another rep, then you can scale back on the weight and do like 175 pounds. Now that same intensity that you had the week before feels the same as doing it with this weight. Congrats. That means like you aren't behind on progress. You're not behind. You are following the intensity based on how you feel. Because if you're still hitting 2 to 3 reps near failure, just like you did the week before, but just with a different weight, you are still going to be progressing. You're just adjusting it based on the RPE that you need for that week. And don't get me wrong, I know men have to do this too because of factors that happen in their life, whether it's mental health, lack of sleep, not good nutrition. It's all the same, but women just experience it a little bit more. But that doesn't mean you need to take an entire week off of lifting. You don't need to spend a week doing yoga during your luteal phase just so you can recover. Take it easy. If you are feeling really weak, just scale back on the weight. There's nothing wrong with that. You're still moving your body. We are still maintaining the output that you need for your muscle. Because the worst thing you can do is take a week off when you don't actually need to. And it's not because your progress is going to be gone. It's mainly just because you finally got in the habit of working out consistently, setting your alarm at a certain time, going to bed at a certain time, and suddenly you took this whole week off. Your whole schedule is just going to be like all over at this point. And then when you do come back for that following week, not only are you going to feel even more weaker, but your whole schedule feels out of whack, your routine feels out of whack, and you're less likely to stay on track because you're going to have more of those days where you just don't feel like it. You feel like you already took a week or 2 off, so like what's the point? All of that is going to happen. But the overall umbrella of changing up your exercises based on the week of your phase that you're going through. Like I said, if the goal is to build muscle, if you don't have that goal, then this may not apply to you. And trust me, I know what it feels like because I used to work out with my partner a lot back when our schedules were a little bit more aligned. And there were so many times where it felt like he was just so much stronger out of nowhere. If we took a week off from working out together and we just did our own thing and we came back to work out the next week, I would be so confused on how he progressed so quick in weight. But it's also just realizing that our hormones are very different. Our level of recovery is also very different. Imagine what you could accomplish if you were always in your week of ovulation or follicular. I use those two just because I know that's when we feel the best, just depending on who you are as a person. Like imagine how much you would accomplish. Imagine how much more energy you would have in the day to be able to do things. Like that's how it is for a man. And it as unfair as it feels, it's just how it is. And the best thing you can do is just adjust by the week how you need to. And if you have any questions regarding this topic, please drop them below. I would love to be able to answer it for you, or if it's just a really good juicy topic to talk about, I would definitely make another video on it. But that is all I have for this video, and I will see you in the next one.